Hi students, welcome back. This is lecture 2 in our epic video lecture series. The first thing I want you to do, if you haven't already done so, please press pause on the video and print the lecture notes. Not mandatory, but if you have a yellow highlighter, please highlight all the terms and follow along with me as we go through the High English vocabulary. All right, only 9 words today. I'll try to go through them as quickly as I can. The first one is a verb, admonish. Please say it with me. Admonish. Admonish. Let's make it past tense. Admonished. Very simply, guys, it means to warn someone. Usually not to do something. What do I have here? To warn or reprimand. I looked this word up last night, guys. Reprimand. Gyuncheik. Am I saying that correctly? Gyuncheik. To reprimand someone. Excuse me. To warn or reprimand someone firmly. Or I have a slightly different definition. To scold mildly. And again, I looked this word up, and I have it in bold on your notes there. Gujida. It's a little difficult for me to pronounce, but I'm sure you know it. Gujida. 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 Okay, my pronunciation is terrible, I know. So to scold mildly. For example, take a look at this. Here's a photograph of a little boy, and you can see he's putting his finger in the electrical outlet. In Korean, I think it's consent, Jungi consent. And obviously what he's doing is very dangerous, but when we're little, we just don't understand the dangers involved, and consequently, when mom or dad sees their son or daughter doing something dangerous, they'll like, no, 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 no. Danger. So in that case, we could say the parents reprimanded their child. So just scold mildly. 이해했어요? Another example. This does not seem like a good idea. Okay, on your handout, I have a real-life example. The policeman admonished me for jaywalking. What is jaywalking? I have the hardest time remembering this word. Jaywalking in Korean, again, I looked this up, mudan hwangdan. Okay, so guys, I'm not a criminal. Please do not pass judgment. Let me explain. I live in Imundong. It's admittedly not the nicest area of Seoul, but I spend so much time at the university. My life revolves around the university, and it's very convenient to live here. I live in a small office tel, just maybe 8 minutes by walking to campus. So I live very close to campus. And my apartment is right across the street from E-Mart. But the crosswalk is a little bit far. So, whenever we cross the street, we wait for the green light. And again, for me, E-Mart is right across the street from my apartment, but the crosswalk is a little bit far. I mean, it's not far in distance, but if you have heavy bags of groceries, like a gallon of milk and orange juice and whatever else, it's very tempting to just jaywalk because I can see my apartment. It's directly across from E-Mart, Anyway, one day I was leaving Emart. I looked both ways, make sure no cars were coming, and I began jaywalking across the street. And even before I finished crossing the street, I couldn't believe it, Mr. Policeman was waiting for me. I was quite embarrassed, and he admonished me, mildly. I mean, he wasn't angry. And actually, to tell you the truth, I think he was a little nervous communicating with me. But basically, he just said, next time, use the crosswalk. Students, ironically, I've been living at that apartment for 12 years. Almost every single day, I see ajumas and ajushis jaywalking. The one time Professor does it, I get caught by a policeman, so bad luck. Anyway, so that's admonish, to warn someone firmly. By the way, firmly just means like, don't do it again. Or to scold kind of mildly, like, oh, be careful, like the children around the consent. Okay, what's next? Oh yes, I think these words are a little more difficult, and that's likely to be the case throughout the semester. Some of these words you probably have seen before, and some will be new. And I think as the semester progresses, you might notice a gradual increase in the difficulty. So this next one, guys, it's a verb. Please repeat after me. Embroil. Please say it with me. Embroil. Embroil. Embroil, I have on your handout here, involves someone. It doesn't have to be a person. It could be an organization or even a nation. So, but usually it's people. Involve someone deeply in an argument, conflict, or some other difficult situation. Now, students, I don't have it on your handout here, but in my own mind, when I think of embroil, so involve someone deeply in a conflict, yes. Again, it's not on your paper, but in my mind, I think of embroil as kind of pulling someone into a conflict against their will. Like they don't want to be a part of this difficult situation, this argument or whatever it is, but they're getting pulled into it or sucked into this problem against their wishes. What else? So, involve someone deeply in an argument, conflict, or difficult situation. What do I have here? Yeah, I have an example on your handout. Honestly, it's grammatically correct, but it's not my favorite example. The United Nations was reluctant, so they were hesitant. They didn't want to. The United Nations was reluctant to get its forces, so its military forces, embroiled in a civil war. So, I'm just making this up. It's not on your handout, but the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the dispute over Jerusalem, I don't know, I'm just making this up, but maybe some members of the European Union might be reluctant to get embroiled in the dispute over Jerusalem. Some are more willing. For example, Norway has been deeply involved in trying to find a peaceful solution, but other countries, not surprisingly, are a little hesitant because the problem seems like there is no solution. That's not my personal opinion, but anyway, so a better example, let's see here. Okay, guys, this is a true story. A few years ago, there was a campus couple in my classroom. They were disgustingly cute. They would often, we've seen this before, and by the way, I'm not being mean. When I say disgusting, I mean they were nuclear cute. I was getting cancer from the cute radiation off of them. And I don't know, I didn't ask, but I think maybe it was like first love, and they were always together. I always saw them together. On the sidewalk, in the hallway, walking together on campus and Starbucks, and especially in my class, they would always arrive and leave together. And of course, they would sit together in my classroom. This is not them, but it in some way kind of reminds me of them. Maybe you do this. It's not a bad thing, of course. But one day I came to class and I noticed the girl was sitting at a desk near the front, which is where they normally sat, but the boy was sitting kind of far away, and not because all the seats had been taken. I don't know, maybe they had an argument. I thought, uh-oh, trouble in paradise. And I liked both students very much. They were both friendly. I enjoyed talking with each of them. I had a good relationship with each student. They were hardworking, etc. And that day when they were sitting apart, naturally, I was curious, like, is everything okay? But my dear students, I did not ask, because going back to the vocabulary, I did not want to get embroiled in a lover's dispute. You know, he did this, she said that, and honestly, I did not want to get in the middle of it. I am happy to say the following week, maybe he apologized and they were back together, sitting together the following week. But anyway, remember, embroil, to involve someone deeply in a conflict, argument. I'm trying to think of another example. Whoops. Well, I'm a little reluctant to even mention this, guys. Please do not be angry with me, but one example that comes to mind, Dokdo. Dokdo. Students, do you know what the official U.S. government policy is on Dokdo? Not Scott, but Washington bureaucrats, Washington officials, the people who make U.S. foreign policy. The official position of Dokdo is we have no position. And I think the reason why is the United States does not want to become embroiled in the dispute between Korea and Japan. The United States wants Korea and Japan to cooperate on security matters, especially against Cheongguk. 이해하세요? Again, please do not be angry with me. I have my own opinion on Dokdo, and I'm happy to share my feelings with you. That's a whole nother video, but just as an example of embroil. Any other ones? Oh, one last one, and then we need to move on, guys. This is not on your handout, but divorce and children. My mom and dad, they're separated. They separated when I was very young, and fortunately, they've always had good relations, even after they divorced. But as you know, that's not always the case. Sometimes when husband and wife separate, it can be very ugly. And unfortunately, children are often embroiled in the divorce. You know, for example, custody issue. Will the mother have custody? Or will the children live with the father? And anyway, in that case, the children are getting pulled into this in this difficult situation against their will. I mean, they almost have no part in it. They're just witnessing something painful and upsetting. Okay, so that's embroil. What is that in Korean? Embroil? Oh, difficult. I'm not sure. 휘말기게 하다? Students, embroil, find it on the midterm. This next one, much easier, and you might already know it. Innumerable. Just remember, guys, the prefix in means not. So literally, innumerable, numberless, or not countable. I think that's what I have. Too many to count, or numberless. How do you say this in Korean? Oh, difficult. I have it in bold here. By the way, whenever I have a Korean translation, and I always make great effort to find the Korean translation, sometimes I will put one word in bold. That means, students, focus on that particular translation. Don't ignore the other one, but pay close attention to that translation I have in bold, because that's, I don't know if innumerable will be on the midterm, but if it is, I will try to use it like so. Okay, so innumerable, very simply, guys, too many to count. So, can you think of an example? Something that is innumerable. Well, what about leaves on a tree? Can you think of any other examples? Maybe the best example of all. Stars. We can't see stars very well in Seoul, but if you go into the countryside, you can see millions, billions, or trillions. How many? 1, 2, innumerable. Can you think of something that's innumerable? Students, I want you to look at your handout and look at that first example. I circled it on my paper. Now, here it's kind of interesting because it's not as easy to guess the answer. The project, so the team project, excuse me, the project has been delayed by innumerable problems. So in plain English, guys, the team project has been slowed down or delayed by lots of problems. How many? Innumerable. But guys, on the midterm, I want you to keep a very broad, I want you to have a broad understanding of innumerable. So it might not be leaves on a tree or the stars in the sky, you know, something really obvious that you catch right away. I like this example here. So the team project was delayed by innumerable problems. That would be a good test question. I probably won't use that exact example, but have an open mind and just remember that innumerable, too many to count, numberless. It doesn't have to be stars or I don't know, the hairs on our head or something like that. All right, moving on, guys. Next one, really easy. It's an adjective. Nocturnal. Please say it with me. Nocturnal. In my own mind, guys, when I hear nocturnal, I just simply think night. And on your handout, I have just one synonym. I put 5 stars by it on mine. Nighttime. Nocturnal. This is straight from your handout here, guys. Occurring at night. Of or occurring during the night or under the cover of darkness. Well, I don't have a photo, but most bats are nocturnal. Can you think of any nocturnal animals? I'll give you a hint. It's the symbol of our university. Mr. Owl. Incidentally, most nocturnal creatures have good eyesight and good hearing, as you know. Hedgehog. I didn't know that. Hedgehogs are nocturnal animals. By the way, students, I'm just going to say this as frankly as I can. I experienced culture shock. They sell hedgehogs at Home Plus. Fox. And last one, a raccoon. I like the look on his face. He's like, how did I end up in Scott's lecture? Oh, nocturnal. I know this one. Yaganwi or Bamwi. Guys, I didn't circle it on your handout, but look at the second example. Is it in focus? Look at the second example for nocturnal. I know it's backwards. He spends the nocturnal hours in his observatory. Okay, there's not a lot of context here, but I'm guessing maybe the man is an astronomer. So he studies, he works at night. So he spends the nocturnal hours in his observatory. So very simply, he works in his office at night. I'm paraphrasing. Okay, this next one's a good one and likely to be on the midterm. Please repeat after me. It's a verb. Fluctuate. You can do better. Please say it with me. Fluctuate. Fluctuate. Let's add ing. Let's change the ending. Fluctuating. Fluctuating. And then present. Fluctuate. Good. To change continually. So always changing. To change continually. This comes right from your handout, guys. To change continually or to move up and down. That's fluctuate. Let's see here. Can you think of anything that fluctuates? Maybe One of the best examples that immediately comes to my mind, the stock market. I think on your handout I used the example gold. So the price of gold fluctuates hour to hour, day to day. But it could be any commodity. Bitcoin. Just continuing with this theme about the stock market, guys, something else that fluctuates besides the stocks themselves is our emotions. Take a look at these guys. Their emotions run high as stock prices rise and fall. Traders buy and sell. Look at this guy. Looks like he's about to have a heart attack. Again, I'm not talking about the stocks themselves, but his heart. Oh, I'm sorry, I hit my microphone. But anyway, stock market aside, most days we feel pretty good, I think. But we're all human, and some days we might feel a little blue, melancholy. Some days we feel fantastic. Other days, not so much. This photo, and this is how I imagine students feel when they listen to my lecture. Anyway, my dear students, our emotions can fluctuate. That's just human nature. I think most people, our emotions fluctuate a little bit, but some people, and I mean no disrespect when I say this, but some people don't feel well, and they have what's called bipolar, and their emotions can really fluctuate wildly. 이해했어요? So again, you and I, most people, of course our emotions fluctuate all the time, but some people who aren't feeling well, their emotions can really fluctuate, big swings. Oh, I forgot to mention, guys. Let's see here. Look at the synonym. Seesaw? Where's my pen? What did you do with my pen? Arg. So you remember when we were kids and on the playground and we would sit on the seesaw? So that's fluctuate, up and down. By the way, there's another really good word here. You don't have to know it for the test. Oscillate also means up and down. Okay. So, fluctuate, to continually change, to move up and down. Can you think of any other examples? So, stock market fluctuates. Our emotions can fluctuate. Can you think of anything else that fluctuates? How about temperature? Temperature. Now, not the weather. That would be Konglish if you say, well, let me see, the weather fluctuates? Temperature is better, so hot and cold. So the temperature can fluctuate. I think this is Nami-san. It is early spring now, and actually my fingers are a little cold. Usually in the morning it's quite cool. The sun will come out and it warms up, and then when the sun sets, the temperature falls again. So the temperature fluctuates throughout the day and of course throughout the year. Signs of spring. Students, take a look at this. I'm getting a little off the subject here, but this photograph was taken in Korea. Do you know this yellow flower? I don't know if you can see it on your screen. In English, it's called forsythia. You don't have to know that, but it grows really well in Korea. My father used to grow it, but it never grew like this. Also, forsythia, of course, is a harbinger of spring. So I'm looking forward to seeing this. Very beautiful. I like it. Okay, so that's fluctuate. Okay, this next one, don't be intimidated by the word. It's a noun. Please repeat after me. Palindrome. Say it with me, please. Palindrome. A palindrome, guys, I know the word is unfamiliar, but very simply, it's a word, usually a word, a phrase, sentence, or a number that reads the same forwards or backwards. That's it. That's a palindrome. So a word, no matter how it's spelled, it reads the same forwards or backwards. What do I have here? I've written some examples. I'm not going to spell them, but if you look at them, like radar, R-A-D-A-R, and if you spell it backwards, it's the same. Very cool. Check this out. I don't know if you like classical music, but even Haydn's Symphony Number 47 is a palindrome. Students, I probably won't put that on the midterm, but I just wanted to introduce it for fun. So, what's a palindrome? A word or phrase, could be a number, it actually could be almost anything, but it reads the same forwards or backwards. Even a date, you don't have to know this, but February 2nd, 2020, that date is a palindrome. So if you write it out, 02, in US, in Canada, we write month, day, year. So I know you write it a little differently. Anyway, if you write it out, the numbers are the same forwards or backwards. That's a palindrome. Okay, moving on, guys. This next one is easy. I want you to be very careful about the pronunciation. The letter H is silent. You don't pronounce the H. So please repeat after me. It's a noun. Heirloom. Heirloom. Like the air we breathe. Heirloom. Not heirloom, but heirloom. So what do I have here? Excuse me. A valuable object. Can be anything. A valuable object that is owned by a family for many years and is passed given from one generation to another. I have a couple of examples. In Korean, it's gabo. Guys, look at the second example on your handout. This is kind of a classic example of an heirloom. What do I have here? My grandmother's ring. So my grandmother's ring, I wrote emerald ring, but it could be any. My grandmother's ring is a precious family heirloom. So, your grandmother maybe will give your mother her ring, and someday she will give it to you, and if you decide to someday have a family, maybe you might pass the ring down to your daughter. That's an heirloom. And for boys, just simple example like a gold pocket watch. So grandfather's pocket watch was given to your dad, and someday it will belong to you. And again, if you have children, you will pass the pocket watch to your son. Now, guys, I want to be clear about this. When I think of heirlooms, typically I do think of something expensive like jewelry, but it can be anything. I have another example here, a painting. A painting, of course, can be an heirloom. I'm trying to think of another example. It could be a piece of furniture, like a chair or desk, or maybe even dishes. I don't know. I want to say books, but it could be almost anything. Do you have any heirlooms in your family? iPhone 12 Pro Max? No. My father, he was an art teacher, so there are many paintings in our house, and he also taught ceramics. So he made pottery. I don't know if that's an heirloom or not, but we do have a grandfather clock. Do you know what a grandfather clock is? It's a very large clock, and this clock is easily over 100 years old. It was in my father's house when he was a boy, and my grandparents died before I was born, so I never met them. But this clock has been in my house since I can remember, and my father has made it clear that someday the clock will be mine. So anyway, that's an heirloom. Okay, two more, guys, and then we'll wrap up. This next one, it's an adjective. It's a good one too. Ambiguous. Please say it with me. Ambiguous. Whenever you hear the word ambiguous, this is the picture I want you to see. Ambiguous means not clear, or having two or more possible meanings. You don't have to know this, but the noun form of ambiguous is ambiguity. You don't have to know that, just letting you know. Let's see here. Students, I have several examples. They're all okay, but I'm just going to use my own, just make one up. For example, if I ask my friend if they want to have dinner, or what they want to have for dinner. So like, hey, Bago Payo? Yeah? You have a voracious appetite? Okay. Well, do you want to have Andong Jimdok or Deji Galbi? And my friend replies, no, whatever. Okay, I understand, or I'm guessing that either or, Jimdok or Deji Galbi is fine. You know, he or she does not have a strong preference, so both are okay. But their answer was a little ambiguous or not clear. I'll give you another example. If I want to invite my friend to CGV, like, hey, do you want to go to the cinema this weekend? And he or she says, Yeah, maybe. Again, it's not real clear to me if they want to go or not. So their reply was ambiguous. I think I used that as one of the examples, the very first one, ambiguous. His reply to my question was somewhat ambiguous. In other words, a little unclear. Incidentally, students, I hate ambiguity, that's the noun form. If I ever post something on eClass and my instructions are ambiguous, please don't be shy to email me. I know how frustrating that can be and how comforting having clear information is. So, yes, ambiguous. Oh, one more example, guys. I nearly forgot. 4 years ago, I think in 2016, Seoul City government came up with a kind of slogan, like a saying. I'm not sure why they did this, but I'm sure you've seen it. I Seoul you. Have you seen this? Some people like it. As a matter of fact, I don't understand it, but as a foreigner, I kind of like it because when you say it fast, I saw you, it kind of, to my ears, it sounds like I saw you. I don't think that's what they intended, but some people don't like this because it's ambiguous. People aren't sure what it's supposed to mean. I think it's okay, but anyway, this I saw you, a little ambiguous. In Korean, Ame mo hohan, Ame mo hohan, ambiguous. Cool. Okay, last one, guys. It's an adjective. Please repeat after me. Contemporary. Contemporary. Students, on your handout, I have some synonyms, and you can see I put 5 stars on my paper. Present day, and look at the second one, modern. Whenever I hear contemporary, that's what comes to my mind, modern. So contemporary, belonging to the same period of time as yourself. For example, contemporary music, contemporary fashion. What's another example? Contemporary art. Take a look at this. Contemporary architecture. Just means modern architecture or modern buildings. Guys, look at the example on your handout. It's the second one. I circled it on my paper. The old bridge is soon to be replaced by a more contemporary crossing. What does that mean? The old bridge is soon to be replaced by a more contemporary crossing. Well, when I read it, it sounds to me like the old bridge is going to be torn down and a modern one is going to be built in its place. That's it. Contemporary. But students, keep a broad understanding of contemporary. Means modern, present day, current. What is that in Korean? Dongshi Daewi? Hyundaewi? Hyundai? Just kidding. Okay. Well, guys, I'll stop the lecture here. There is one more thing I want to share with you, and it's of a personal nature. In the video, you can only see my head and torso, but I'm wearing hospital pants and a cast. I'll try to show you if I can. I don't know if I can do this. Let's see here. Yeah. 잠시만요. And just out of view are my crutches. Yes. Guys, I had an accident during the winter holidays. I broke my ankle while hiking with a friend, and I'm much better now. I'm not telling you to make you feel sorry for me, but I'm just letting you know what happened. So if we meet on campus in April or May and I have a cane like in Ajushi, you will have some notion why. I have some good news. Finally, after 6 weeks, I'm getting my cast off this week, and I'm not really sure what's going to happen next. But I hate these crutches, so hopefully I won't have to use them anymore. But I think the doctor said it'll take some time before I can put my weight on my foot again, and my leg muscles are a little bit weak after not using them for so long. So anyway, wish me luck, and I'll keep you posted, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.